In the dead of night, air raid sirens wailed across Israel. Civilians, who had been fast asleep, scrambled into bunkers and bomb shelters. The night sky over Tel Aviv lit up as the Iron Dome system worked tirelessly, intercepting a barrage of ballistic missiles launched by Iran. Massive explosions shook the heart of the city. In just a matter of hours, Israel was transformed into a war zone. This was Iran's brutal and calculated retaliation, a response to Israel's bold military strike on the heart of Iran. Just days earlier, in the early hours of Friday, June 13th, Israel launched a dramatic preemptive attack deep into Iranian territory. Without warning, the Israeli Air Force targeted nuclear facilities and key military installations across several cities, including Tehran, Natanz, Tabriz, and Isfahan. The sudden strike shocked Iran's capital at around 3 a.m. local time. Israel's air assault destroyed several strategic sites. Iranian media reported the death of several high-ranking officials, including Hossein Salami, a senior commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard. In addition to top military leaders, Israel's main objective was Iran's nuclear program. In this opening operation, the IDF confirmed the killing of 9 Iranian nuclear scientists, individuals seen as central figures in Iran's atomic weapons development. Israel even released their names, including nuclear engineers and physicists said to have decades of experience in Iran's bomb-making efforts. Israel quickly realized that devastating retaliation was imminent. The Ministry of Defense declared a nationwide state of emergency, closed airspace to all commercial flights, and urged citizens to brace for missile and drone attacks. Tel Aviv's international airport was shut down entirely until further notice. Tensions escalated rapidly. The Israeli public held its breath as they awaited Iran's response. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei condemned the Israeli strike, accusing it of deliberately targeting civilian areas. He vowed that Iran would not stay silent, promising that Israel had prepared a bitter and painful meal for itself. By Friday afternoon, June 13th, just hours after the Israeli strike, Iran launched a massive counterattack. The first wave involved over 100 ballistic missiles aimed at various targets across Israel. Sirens screamed through Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and other cities as Israeli radar detected incoming projectiles. Soon after, loud explosions were heard across central Israel, especially Tel Aviv, indicating that several missiles had broken through the defense systems. One of Iran's primary targets was the Kiryat military complex in central Tel Aviv, Israel's defense headquarters, often referred to as Israel's Pentagon. Missiles struck near the iconic Marganet Tower, which stands adjacent to the Kiryat complex. The blast disrupted Israel's defense coordination. During a live press briefing at the Kiryat, IDF spokesperson Evi Devrin was forced to take cover when an emergency alert was sounded over the base's intercom. A direct hit to Israel's command center carried the potential to paralyze intelligence operations and military decision-making. Panic swept across Tel Aviv. Firefighters worked for hours rescuing people trapped inside partially collapsed high-rise buildings. To prevent further damage, Israel deployed its full defense network, including Iron Dome, David's Sling, and the Arrow system. The military claimed to have intercepted many incoming missiles, though it admitted that some had reached urban centers. Iran's missile assault didn't just come from Iranian territory. Israeli forces confirmed launches from Yemen, aimed at Israeli territory. In the north, air raid sirens sounded as unidentified drones approached the Lebanese border. While Hezbollah had yet to formally join the war, the presence of surveillance drones suggested the northern front could ignite at any moment. Israel now faced threats on multiple fronts. To the south, from Palestinian groups in Gaza. To the north, from Hezbollah and Iranian-backed militias in Syria. And from the east and far south, threats from Iranian proxies in Yemen and Iraq. Effectively, the entire nation was surrounded. Amid this onslaught, Israeli civilians suffered from mass trauma. The constant wailing of sirens made it impossible for citizens to rest. Families crammed into bomb shelters, praying for morning to come, though the first night alone felt endlessly long for those gripped by fear. Everyone knew this was only the beginning of a much larger war. The Israeli government warned citizens to remain near shelters for an extended period. By Saturday, June 14th, the conflict had intensified dramatically. Israel launched additional air raids on Iran, targeting missile launch infrastructure near Tehran. Israeli fighter jets pounded Iranian bases, hoping to disrupt Iran's missile attacks. Tel Aviv tried to break Iran's missile chain at the source, but Iran was well prepared. Iranian officials claimed their air defense systems had shot down several Israeli reconnaissance drones over northwestern Iran. Even more shockingly, Tehran reported shooting down 2 Israeli fighter jets. One Israeli female pilot, they claimed, was captured alive by Iranian forces. Iranian state television aired these claims, saying the jets and drones were down during covert missions. Though Israel denied losing any aircraft and insisted all jets returned safely, Iran continued releasing details, including the alleged downing of 3 Israeli F-35s. While air battles raged above Iran, the missile barrage on Israel continued into the second day. Wave after wave of ballistic missiles rained down from Friday night into Saturday morning. Sirens once again wailed across Jerusalem just before midnight. Tel Aviv and Jerusalem remained primary targets. This new round of strikes caused even greater destruction. At least 9 skyscrapers were destroyed or collapsed, including office towers and shopping centers. The modern metropolis of Tel Aviv now lay in ruins in several areas. Burning vehicles filled the streets, and collapsed buildings turned parts of the city into ghost towns. Amid the crisis, international support for Israel was put to the test. The United States, Israel's closest ally, moved swiftly to bolster its defenses. American warships in the Mediterranean and NATO radar systems were activated to help intercept Iranian missiles. But these actions further enraged Tehran. Iran issued direct threats to the US, UK, and France, warning that their military bases in the Middle East would become targets if they continued aiding Israel. In an official statement, Iran declared that any nation that interfered in its war with Israel would face direct retaliation. Iran specifically named U.S. bases in the Persian Gulf and foreign warships in the Red Sea as potential targets. This marked a dangerous escalation, a step closer to a full-scale regional war between Iran and the Western Alliance. Iranian military sources even claimed that American air bases in Iraq were on Tehran's hit list. The rapidly deteriorating situation triggered global diplomatic responses. Russian President Vladimir Putin condemned Israel's initial strike and offered to mediate. As a close ally of Iran, Moscow proposed direct talks between Tehran and Tel Aviv to prevent a wider war. Meanwhile, countries like Oman and Qatar launched diplomatic efforts to open emergency negotiations. But on the ground, bombs spoke louder than diplomacy. By the end of Iran's second day of counterattacks, Israel was fully entrenched in a defensive posture. The Israeli Air Force continued bombing Iranian targets into early Saturday morning. Yet, Iran's missile barrages persisted. Parts of Israel experienced widespread blackouts due to damaged infrastructure. The Israeli currency plummeted in global markets. Most significantly, the Israeli public sense of security was shattered. For the first time in its history, Israel was experiencing the full horror of total war on its own soil. The country, once confident in its advanced military technology, was now in chaos. Its defenses breached by missile strikes from the east. The once revered Iron Dome system had failed to stop all incoming attacks. Even Hamas in Gaza mocked Israel's vulnerability. Inside Israel, fear and panic gripped the population. Air raid sirens sounded almost hourly in central and northern regions. Citizens were forced to remain in cramped bunkers for extended periods. For many Israelis, this was their first time experiencing such relentless bombardment. Children and the elderly suffered deep trauma. But even this experience cannot compare to the decades of pain and devastation endured by the Palestinian people.